Okay, this is what I'm fucking talking about. I was saying earlier that this is the dynamic, is that he is here to fucking annoy me, and he does
Ahsoka! We are back with a review, and it's a Star Wars review, everybody. It is
Wow, Cody's a good host.
Oh my god, you fucker.
It's been a while.
Cody, say we're back. That's one of the things we have to say.
No, but
And we're back!
no, he did it wrong.
he didn't do it
No,
right,
he didn't
but
do it
he's
right.
doing it different.
No, I don't like it.
It's different, but probably better.
We are back, and the biggest reason is because with our season 2 review of The Mandalorian, a lot of the talking points that we were having with Cody. This is Cody, by the way. I don't know if you need an introduction.
Hey,
If you saw the Mandalorian review, you know.
You know Cody.
You know.
You're back for more.
Cody is what we call a Star Wars fan.
Apologist.
Exceedingly rare breed. Yeah, a Star Wars apologist.
A fan that's not a new fan. He's been a fan his whole life, and he's continuing to be a fan.
Today, we are here, and we are talking about Star Wars Ahsoka. So this is actually the newest episode in a series that has kind of been born. I'm calling 3 cynics versus 1 fan. We did that with The Mandalorian.
We don't even know what his opinion is yet.
But he's still a Star Wars fan. Kevin's
That's true. He is a Star Wars fan.
So is Kevin.
Kevin's not.
He's literally wearing the nerdiest Star Wars shirt I think I've ever seen.
We are going to be giving Cody an uninterrupted minute for each episode.
Uninterrupted.
Where we don't get to interrupt him, where he gets to say what he likes. You can ask him questions, but you cannot interrupt him.
Can you interrupt him with a question?
Yes.
Can you interrupt him because you want to and he sucks? No.
This is going to be such a deep conversation about this.
Jesus Christ.
It's gonna bury us with those dudes.
There's a lot to dig into here, folks.
What are you, Carrot Top? What the heck are you doing?
Yeah, like Alex Guts.
Dig through his bag of props. I don't want to be surprised. I thought every single thing that Star Wars was after Rise of Skywalker and even before that was terrible. So this was also going to be terrible. All the new shows I've not liked at all.
Yeah.
And I did not think them adapting a Star Wars show based on a character I already don't like was going to be good. Not that I went in thinking, just purposely hating it. I go into something knowing I won't like it, and usually I'm right.
You go in with a very educated guess.
Yes. Sometimes I'm surprised.
I haven't loved a single Star Wars show that's been released in the Disney era.
And you've seen them all.
I'd never finished Book of Boba Fett. Dave Filoni, he directs like half the episodes. He writes nearly all of them. If there is any proof of Dave Filoni's raw power, it is all dependent completely on Ahsoka's performance.
I agree.
Completely.
I went into it knowing that it was going to be an extension of Clone Wars and Rebels and whatever, which isn't fair though to everybody, if I'm being honest. Like
That's an arc, because that was one of the biggest points I kept trying to make with The Mandalorian is that it's not fair to the audience because not everyone's gonna watch this stupid crap.
Watch cartoons.
And he's finally getting it.
But part of Star Wars is, being dropped into a random moment in a random, it doesn't always make sense.
That's it.
in
You
its own-
should be able to understand in
I
each
agree.
project,
I agree with that.
right?
I agree with that.
For sure.
You do like the character of Ahsoka.
Yeah, Ahsoka has become just a cool character that has developed through all of the series. Like I said in the last review, a lot of seeds to be planted.
Seeds. Seeds.
A lot of
Oh,
seeds.
the seeds
There's
have
more seeds
continued.
in this show?
No, but
Are they
see,
ever
now
gonna
this
grow?
is-
We should be done with
The
seeds.
should
There
be
should be no
growing.
more seeds. It
The
should be a
seeds
plant.
the seeds should be growing.
I have prayed the seeds would return.
I think going into this with Ahsoka is potential. All Ahsoka is potential for really cool stuff or something really.
I just want the cool stuff to finally happen.
To me, with Star Wars, it's like for the entire time we've been doing this channel, it's been like watching something you cared about a lot throughout the first part of your life just be stolen. And this is something I've become increasingly mad at Disney for, is that they're so rich they can buy anything, and they do buy everything. They buy whatever they
bought
can.
everything.
They're taking credit for stuff that they had nothing to do with. We're giving this franchise to people that were not responsible for why I like it. And now they're just destroying it. My concerns that I had like literally a decade ago when Disney bought Star Wars have been validated more and more.
They're rushing this.
This is just a money printing machine for them. They don't care about
At this point, it's not even like a slow death. It's like they've killed it several times and they used a little like clear, brought it back to life and killed it again.
The person that is the most right that has been responsible for the Star Wars franchise is actually Rian Johnson. I think he knew what he was doing and he saw the future.
Tried to kill it.
I am convinced that he
tried
saw
flying the starship
he was
into the
just
other
like, I
starship.
see the future. I see what they're going to do. The only thing I can do is
Rian
murder
Johnson,
this.
secretly the biggest Star Wars fan, tried to kill it on site. It's like a loved one had been bitten by a zombie.
bitten by a zombie.
And he tried to put it down.
Yes.
But then Disney was like, that zombie's worth a lot of money.
It was gonna propagate and bite a bunch of things and make them all terrible shit.
Literally had a character say, kill it if you have to.
Yeah, so I'm just like, I am on my hypothetical Rian Johnson plane now, where I'm just like, I'm rooting for the death of Star Wars, so I can stop seeing this My Weekend at Bernie's corpse paraded around. I'm sick of it. I think Disney's incapable of making anything good. You do have to clap for the fact that they brought
Baby
back
Yoda.
Hayden Christensen.
They brought him back.
Very cool.
Hey, it was emotional.
No, it wasn't!
Hey. I happen to be an emotional guy and probably need help. No, but no, you can't continue to use the tool of nostalgia over and over again like they use it throughout the series. Like this monopolizing of Star Wars undermines the message. I feel like that was kind of interesting in the series, is that the Jedi was monopolizing the Force. They knew that it was in everybody, but they're like,
Is that the message?
they were concealing the secret that everybody, if they have with
That's
the
what
right
the bad guy in
with the right
Ahsoka was
training-
saying.
If you just look at what really matters, which is the movies, that is not a theme at all. They don't bring it up once. It's about good guys and bad guys and they fight.
Actually, they do bring it up once.
think it's
Luke
in
brings it
attack.
up in episode 8. Because he says the Jedi's hypocrisy was thinking that the Force belonged to them and it
So
doesn't.
one time.
I'm sorry.
One time.
I'm sorry. Like,
But I'm still.
It is a
that's
connection.
still.
someone's
one
gonna say it
time.
in the comments.
Why are there witches in Star Wars? Why are there witches in Star Wars?
Hey, so that's a cool like starting point here.
No!
Episode 1.
Editing this review is going to be a lot easier because in the Mandalorian review, I did a cool graphic and then I did the song. With Ahsoka, you just have to put the title and then play a fart noise every time.
Okay, so Cody, you have, for episode 1,
I do have.
He's got more props.
No, I have some notes.
1 minute starts now. No interruptions.
You're actually gonna do that. Okay, so we open up with Master Jedi Gardener Ahsoka going into this secret gardening temple that's been abandoned for years. She solves a puzzle. She's a part of the alien race tweaker. She solves this puzzle in a quick second, you know, because all tweakers are really good at solving puzzles, kids.
Are they called tweakers?
She reaches into the dirt and pulls out a seed. Now, seeds we know have roots. Roots we know that can connect out through the universe, which space whales travel, leading to what? Destinations. When you type into your GPS, I'm meandering.
You have a minute. You're supposed to be saying what you like.
You're interrupting him.
No, I'm interrupting with a question. What do you like?
He's getting there.
All right, I like how Ezra breaks up with Sabine over the halo projector.
Right.
I think that's rude.
Timer is up.
Oh, come on.
It was
come
1
on.
minute. We gave you a minute. Can you
Yeah.
lay out some of these characters for us? Like, let's.
Yeah, I had something, but give me your phone. All right.
Since the timer's not going and I can interrupt him, I didn't realize that Ezra was a character and that they were together. What do you say to that, sir?
I mean, they're not probably together, but
They're not even together? I thought they were based on the hologram.
They had a
It kind of
thing.
feels that way. But did they ever?
That's what it feels like when you watch the hologram.
I'm pretty sure I saw a full nude sex scene online.
No, that was two dudes in that scene, dude. So that couldn't have been the same show.
No, it's 2 dudes.
So in the first episode, I think we get Hera, who is from the animated show, and she's actually probably a really cool character that should have gotten more screen time. We do get the hologram of
And let me do
Ezra.
my impression of her.
Ezra.
Are you really gonna do that, Ahsoka?
It's never a straight line with you Jedi, is it?
And there's a pause for 35 seconds before anybody says anything because there's goddamn pauses every single time.
Just like I walked away from Sabine. I'm sure you had your reasons. Sometimes even the right reasons have the wrong consequences.
We do get this really interesting character we got in The Mandalorian.
Talking about the
stick.
mayor.
The stick.
The mayor lady with the stick.
Cody texted me. It's all caps. Seeds.
Because that's her name.
Seeds.
That's her name.
She was just stick lady to me. I did not know her name was
She
Morgan.
couldn't have any more of a hilariously dumb name.
You know why she has a dumb name? Because in the one episode that she's in of The Mandalorian,
She's
she's
just
probably
supposed
going
to
to
be
be
the mayor.
nobody. Just someone named
And then
Morgan.
they watched our video where we made fun of her, and they were like, "She's actually the main villain. You fuck."
It was agony going back to Ahsoka every single time.
It's like a bad porno, you know? Where it's like you get excited at first, and then it turns into like a movie, and you're like, then it gets hot again, and you're like trying to catch up.
I do agree with that.
It's actually a bad porno's better because in the actor's eyes, there's a little bit of conflict.
And I can still
My broad thoughts from episode 1. Immediately, I realize how slow they're pacing everything out. Just in the scene where she goes to get Cody's seed, she cuts a hole down there, right?
Yeah.
And you watch her lift up every single pillar and do the same thing over and over again over the course of a very long scene that doesn't give you anything else besides
No, she's
getting
just
a
solving
thing.
a puzzle.
Just getting.
But it's not even a puzzle. It's just her going, boop.
She's really good at it.
And then you find out that the dialogue is also like that. The dialogue is, hey. And then the other character goes, hey.
Yeah.
And then the other character goes, so what are you doing right now? What am I doing right now? Wouldn't you like to know?
Wouldn't I like to know what?
No, see, you need to pause longer.
Oh yeah.
Pause
no.
longer.
Oh yeah. I'm answering too quick. I'm answering
Wouldn't
too
you
quick.
like to know?
know what?
Like that's the whole show.
That is
and it's
the
like
exact beat.
there is so
Yes.
little information doled out over such a long time. The entire show, every scene is like that. It's as if John Wayne is talking to himself.
I go where I'm needed.
Not always.
You never make things easy.
Why should I? You never made things easy for me, Master.
There is nothing easy about being a Jedi.
All right, Buster, what do you do?
But isn't there a scene where they're talking on the ship and she's like,
So this is what it is.
Oh, yeah,
This,
no, yeah,
it is.
people mad.
This is in episode 4. We're jumping ahead. Don't worry about me. I'm not worried. Should I be? Should you be what? Worried? No.
Don't worry about me.
I'm not.
Good.
Should I be?
What?
Worried.
Nope.
That is an actual exchange.
he just said it 8 times faster.
Well, you said it 8 times faster and with the exact same delivery.
And it's like, why are you? Oh my gosh, are you not in the same room? Like, how are you not having this conversation faster?
So dialogue was his big point, is what he was going.
Well, it was that and the pacing overall.
And also, I don't care about that McGuffin at all. I think I texted Kevin while I was watching episode 1. Why the fuck did Thrawn leave a map to find him? Why is there a mystical map that
Not
can
just
find
why did he leave a
fucking
map?
Thrawn?
Because he couldn't have left the map. Why is there a map? And I'm hoping that they can clear it up for me. Because maybe it's something in Rebels.
Why is there a map?
It's not.
Why does it lead to Thrawn? And 3, why does Ahsoka know about it and know that it will lead to Thrawn? And because this is with knowing how the rest of the plot goes. Because she doesn't know at first that the whales have him or whatever. Like she has this vague idea that Thrawn is working, right? Like that's all we know in the beginning is that Thrawn.
Literally, the plot starts with Dave Filoni writing and going, what do the good guys do? She finds the seed, and that's where Thrawn is. The
And you know
seed
what's
lets her know where
frustrating?
Thrawn is.
People love to clown on the line, and it is a funny line, don't get me wrong, but people love to clown on the line that somehow Palpatine has returned.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
They go, I've never been closer to suicide than hearing that line.
People love to make fun of that line. But the problem with this show is they basically do the same thing with Thrawn. It's just they don't give him a line. It's just somehow Thrawn has returned, and their explanation is that he's in another galaxy. And for some reason, there's a map that doesn't really lead to there, but somehow Ahsoka knows it will lead to there, but it also isn't a map to there.
The location of the last missing Imperial Grand Admiral. Thrawn.
And they also are like, Ezra's also there.
Yeah, Ezra's also there.
Well, that's explained in Rebels.
So, what happens to Thrawn at the end of Rebels?
So basically, those whales are attacking. They get the whales to turn on them, and they turn them against the Empire. They grab Thrawn, and seemingly he gets pulled away. You don't see what happens to him. But then the whales all teleport. They go to some distant galaxy, and nobody knows what happened.
So Ahsoka needs a map to tell her to find the whales again?
The map doesn't make sense. I'm making it clear. The map does not make sense because nobody knows where they could have gone, because nobody knows. So why would a map know?
Why would there be a map?
Why would there be a map?
Who made the map?
The map. No,
Ask that guy where Thrawn is.
it's the Dothmerians that made the map.
Who?
The Dothmerians made
The witches.
The witches
The witches.
made the map. When you notice,
And they sent
in
it
the
there?
first scene when Ahsoka's entering,
told Ahsoka.
when she's entering the catacombs, you can hear whispering happening. The same whispering that you hear in other scenes that have to do with Morgan Elsbeth. The Dothmerians were the first people, they say this at one point in the episode, to figure out how to ride these whales. And so they rode the whale to the end of whatever this pathway is. I think the ending destination is the planet, but that's where the Dothmerians have now set up a temple.
that's
they
where
set
they-
up this post, and they can communicate.
That's all well and good. Why is there a map? And why does Ahsoka know that map will
If they
lead
can
to
make
Thrawn?
the map to lead them to Thrawn, why don't they just make the map and have it just be in the hands of the enemy?
That's a great question.
Here's what you do to make the show better and faster. Is instead of all this bullcrap with the map and all of that, the several episodes they spent on the map, just Thrawn contacts the enemy and they intercept it, and then it's immediately the chase is on. We have to get to Thrawn.
Yeah.
Everyone has the same information, and they get to him, and then the ending happens at that planet, and it all moves faster.
I have another pitch, because I like that. I like that better than my pitch. I'm still going to pitch my pitch. Is that Seeds is also a protagonist. Do a little bit of a Game of Thrones type deal, where you also get the villain's perspective. What if it's a race against each other? Like, it's not just bad woman who's going to die at the end of the season because Ahsoka has to beat somebody. They're sending her telepathic visions. She's seeing them. She's like, oh, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna find Thrawn. And so you get a little bit of a head-to-head.
I thought it was interesting what you said, that Dave Filoni is like the only person that he's got more control
Than he's ever had.
It takes a community. It takes like a bunch of people tending to this thing to make it something cool. And you can tell that it doesn't feel like that.
I disagree with that entirely. I think that, like, when I watch the behind the scenes, not to interrupt you too much, but when I watch the behind the scenes, I started laughing. Dave Filoni is talking about how when he was working with George Lucas on the Clone Wars TV show, he had all these ideas for these different characters, and originally it wasn't really supposed to be about Anakin and his Padawan. It was about a different group of characters, and Ahsoka was one of those characters. Then George Lucas was like, no, that's Anakin's Padawan right there. There's Ahsoka. And then Dave Filoni was like,
But he doesn't have
he doesn't
one.
have a Padawan.
It doesn't make sense because the movie's already out.
The movie's already out.
Wouldn't he talk about this Padawan that he had for years?
And then George Lucas said, no,
No, he has that Padawan.
he has a Padawan.
How old is she supposed to be? I think she's like 18 or 19. Make her 16.
Dave Filoni's telling the story, and to me, what I hear is someone who is just not capable of saying no, of saying, oh, I don't think that's a good idea.
Well, he didn't have the choice, dude. It's George
He was
Lucas.
hired to be a yes man.
While I was watching the behind the scenes, the whole behind the scenes is about how, oh, this show is about masters and apprentices. And it was kind of trying to draw the line between all the masters and apprentices throughout Star Wars and then George Lucas and Dave Filoni. And I was like, but George Lucas didn't have a master. George Lucas just came up with this. He didn't need a team of people. When he wrote A New Hope, he didn't have a committee. You shouldn't need a committee to tell a story. I think that the committee is what makes this terrible. I think the fact that you have a group of people that are all trying to think of different things and are all trying to appease, like everyone's trying to appease different people, it ends up feeling voiceless.
It also somehow feels like Dave Filoni wrote it in an afternoon and didn't look at it once after writing it. It just feels like the first pass.
I thought it had good moments. The characters had good moments. There was an awful lot of in between, but I think there was good moments with Sabine's character. I thought she had mostly bad moments, if I'm being honest. That might be too honest.
No, Sabine is pretty terrible as a character. They're very much like, dude, she's a rebel. She didn't show up at the meeting coronation thing. She's a rebel.
Even though she went all the way back to the city, even though her home's outside
Why
of
was
town.
she in the city in the first place?
I don't know.
I just want to quick say it.
Let Cody
There
finish.
were a lot of character flaws, plot flaws, and a lot of just advertisement in it that made me feel a little bit more disconnected than I've ever really kind of felt. Like even the zombie stuff that you think is going to be kind of cool ends up, it feels like, well, what the fuck? It's just like a hat on top.
Oh, that
It's
was
just
like a throwaway. I forgot.
hat
that
on a
even
hat. It's a
happened.
hat on it. It's like
My first note for episode 1 was, it starts decently enough, but all goodwill is killed when Sabine is introduced.
She might be top 10 worst Star Wars
Here's the problem.
protagonists.
The biggest problem with Sabine is that it's like all of the bad Star Wars characters that we don't like, that they do horrible things and have all these things that they do wrong, but the show's like, they didn't do anything wrong. no.
Let me stop you. Disney only knows how to write 2 women. Exclusively. There is the crossing your arms, looking down, I disapprove of your shenanigans, men, because I am tough and competent woman. That's Ahsoka, it's Captain Marvel. That's the most popular one. That most Disney women are that character. And then there's the second one, which is the exact same character, but she comes across a little goofy. Sometimes she makes some mistakes, but it's good.
She's kind of punky.
She's kind of punky. Characters like that would include, what's her fucking name from Indiana Jones, where it's like, she is still competent, don't get me wrong. She is better
And
than
she'll
Indiana
look down
Jones.
to you.
She'll look down.
But sometimes she farts.
She farts. She farts.
She
like
farts.
dudes fart.
Like dudes fart.
Even though she is a little weird and a little goofy, she's actually more competent than everybody around her.
Yes.
But there's a couple cool moments where they're like fighting off the clones. Like there's a couple cool fight sequences. But she looks so
The thing
incompetent
that
compared to the other
makes
ones.
me so frustrated with characters like this and just bad Star Wars characters nowadays in general is that they write them almost like they're supposed to be these super flawed characters. And it's like, wow, they're constantly making mistakes. But the show and the overall plot is just kind of like, no, it's just kind of like, that's what they were supposed to do.
I'm gonna draw a direct parallel, because they draw a direct parallel to Chris Pine's character in the Star Trek films. They are introduced as a rebel, someone that might be smart and competent, but they haven't put the time in yet. They don't know what they're capable of.
They're rebellious because they feel their capability, they feel their confidence, they know they're destined for greatness, but they're beyond their actual duty almost.
They have not answered the call, to use
Yes.
storytelling terms. His first scene after that is him at a bar, and he gets in a fight. He's this person that's really down on.
He's wasting his potential.
Potential.
Yes.
And
that is literally Sabine.
Over the course of the movie, he learns what his flaw is. He learns that he has to start taking responsibility. He says yes to the call. He starts improving. And then by the end of it, he's not perfect now, but he's at least made progress on that character arc.
By the end, he is different than he was.
I will give Ahsoka credit, is David Tennant does call Sabine a loser.
I have known many Padawans over the centuries, and I can safely say your aptitude for the Force would fall short of them all.
The show had a perfect opportunity for an arc blast in the first episode because Sabine, and I was like, the show might get smart right here.
Put a patent on
Sabine,
Arc blast.
Arc blast.
Sabine is introduced as a rebel. She's like, I don't care about your stupid bureaucracy. All I care about is the past. And then she gets in that fight. And she's like, oh, right, I didn't actually learn how to be a Jedi, and now I'm fighting an actual Jedi.
Oh, she gets stabbed
and then she gets
should
stabbed.
fucking be dead.
First of all, the choreography is terrible because she literally goes like this, oh my gosh, you're fighting, and then she goes,
Skull.
I had this moment where I was watching it, and I was like, she's fucking dead. She's done.
For a second.
Because she got stabbed in the fucking stomach, and Qui-Gon Jinn got stabbed in the fucking stomach, and she's dead.
It was like over here. It was like over here.
Literally in real time, this was my exact thought process, was gasp, holy fuck, she's dead. And then a millisecond later, it was, oh, but I'm watching this.
so she's not affected at all. What if, instead of she gets stabbed and nothing happens to her, and it's almost as if you completely forget that happened after the first episode, what if she gets her arm cut off or her leg cut off? Something irreparable.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
And now you have to rely on the Force. Now you have to learn the Force. You can't just be, I'm a sweet Mandalorian badass warrior.
And losing your hands would change you. Like
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean?
Why did she even get stabbed in that episode? It literally doesn't do anything for the plot.
It changes nothing.
It changes nothing.
Kylo Ren was stabbed in the gut by Rey, and he survived because she healed him. There's a reason. The Obi-Wan show, which you guys have not finished,
Yeah, dude, same.
it stretched believability again with a guy getting stabbed in the gut with a lightsaber. And then, as if they could not stretch the believability any further, at the end of Kenobi, they do it again. The bad guy, gal guy, she gets stabbed in the gut by Darth Vader, and you're like, oh, that's a great way to die. She's fine, by the way. And then everyone complained about it. Literally, everyone was like, guys, this show sucks, and this is why. Dave Filoni saw it, he's like, it'll be fine.
Here's the argument I would make, is the show is called Ahsoka, and Sabine dying in that moment would make the stakes
Not dying,
so
just losing
fucking,
an
No,
arm.
I am making the argument that Sabine dying in that moment is the thing that actually makes the most sense. Ahsoka should learn in the first episode that she is flawed in some way, or it should be apparent to the audience that she is flawed in some way.
She came into it just perfect, then she went through that weird adventure and just came through it like the same
She's
perfect.
But that's what I'm saying. You need episode 1. She learns, oh, fuck, I may have made a mistake. There would be some repercussions for it,
Yeah.
but there's not. And Sabine is fine.
Like withdrawing from being a Jedi. Maybe there was something you could have prevented from happening that happened. And now something, I don't know.
Or even just, I'll keep it even more localized to this story. Because of her own baggage that she has with her master, she gave up on Sabine too easily.
Yes.
And then because she gave up on Sabine too easily, that got Sabine killed.
Yeah, she couldn't,
Like, it's as simple as that. And it works with their themes that they want to do with masters and apprentices or whatever. And it's easy as shit. You just have to kill
That character
Sabine.
Dave Filoni designed for pop culture.
Dave Filoni and all the other people at Star Wars, they need to get way more comfortable with murdering human beings and characters.
They'll cut clone troopers' heads off.
No, but they kill
characters.
Yes. This is a general thought, and it annoys the fuck out of me. And I kind of alluded to it when we were talking about general thoughts, is that Luke Skywalker is alive. The fact that Balen Skoll and the other fucking girl are just Sith lords, essentially. They can call themselves Dark Jedi or whatever the fuck they want to call themselves. To me, they are Sith lords because that's what Sith lords look like. There's two of them and they have red lightsabers.
Give them a different lightsaber then.
Yeah. He has a slightly different...
I don't give a fuck. They're Sith lords.
It is.
It's a little more orange.
A little more orange.
It doesn't matter. They're evil. They have red lightsabers.
They're bad guys.
Evil people with red lightsabers, you should probably call the one person
You know for sure is a Jedi that exists.
that you know for sure exists and you've met because you've already shown them meeting on screen.
This is a commercial for a movie. This is what this whole thing was. The whole thing didn't feel like it had a plot. It didn't have anything going on because it was a commercial for a movie. They're gonna do Heir to the Empire.
So it's worthless.
They're gonna bring Luke in.
It felt worthless because by the end they just all traded places.
It is sort of like
Worthless.
worthless. It is.
My last point for the show overall is that the show looks atrocious. And all of the Disney Star Wars shows look atrocious. And here's my reasoning. Star Wars is dirty. To me, the prequels don't work for this exact same reason. In its most idyllic form, a lot of times it's shot on location. If it's not, it's shot on sets that are built by hand and there's grime and there's dirt. Like, the people aren't clean. But these new Star Wars shows, they're all shot on the Alexa LF, which is a super clean sensor. It's just like, it's very clinical looking and the lenses that they're using are very just, it's all too perfect. All the costumes are like they just came from Target.
Look at this sweet poncho I found.
Yeah, it looks like they bought from their own toy aisle where they just manufacture the costumes for Halloween.
Which that is not what it should look like. Ahsoka is homeless.
Yes.
Literally. Make her homeless.
Make her
like
homeless.
why? Like there's no character in any of the characters.
No.
Even with how shitty, this has always been true for Star Wars, is because they hire the best VFX people in the business. Usually they get really good creature and spaceship designs. So like even when stuff sucks everywhere else, you can be like, well, that ship design was
Thrawn's
pretty cool.
ship was pretty cool.
It was a Star Destroyer.
But it was all destroyed
blowjob.
from the adventure that they went on prior.
Oh, fuck that. It's
all
a
the
normal-
clone troopers had like this Japanese style.
Oh, I
like,
hated that
I
shit
liked
so
it.
much. I laughed so hard when the guy,
That was a little weird.
The head
face?
storage trooper
Squishy
guy
face?
had a stupid little face in his.
Like, he should have just had a straight up a different helmet or something.
No
you know what I
screen.
mean?
It would be just as dumb.
or just a
yeah, it would
visor.
literally be just as
visor.
dumb if it was cut out in the center. If it was just his face.
Yeah, it looked like an award.
Yeah, no, it did. It looked like Oscar. Yeah, my first note was so Qui-Gon Jinn was a pussy.
One more point about the whole Sabine being stabbed and living thing. Because a lot of people are on our side, they're mad about it. I think it's dumb that Star Wars fans are even mad about that at this point because Darth Maul got cut in half. And like lots of other characters, like Kevin just
Getting
said,
cut in half is not
got
fatal.
stabbed. Like, none of that's fatal, and it's just like this is. It's too late for you to complain about this.
No. But here's what I will say: the lore reason behind Darth Maul surviving, I think, is kind of funny.
No.
Yes. He is
Funny?
so filled.
He said funny.
It is so filled with rage.
He's so angry.
that his rage connects him to the dark side of the Force so much that it keeps him alive.
What about Liam Neeson?
He didn't have enough
rage to survive.
Jesus, he was like, finally.
I've seen a decent amount of Rebels, and I've watched all of the Clone Wars. And something that I think you guys would miss out on that you wouldn't understand. I can honestly say this the most about any Star Wars property, this show, because you guys asked her, it's like, oh, so what happened at the end of Rebels? And I'm like, trust me, it doesn't help you.
It does.
I mean, it helps you understand who the characters are, but it doesn't help you
The
understand.
characters don't give you enough in the acting performance to make you interested.
This thing pissed me off particularly. So they say, oh, this is all this whole history between Ahsoka and Sabine, and she tried to train her, and all this stuff happened.
And Sabine was like, "Fuck you."
And I was like, none of that happened in Rebels.
Are you serious?
I'm not joking. They barely exchange any words in Rebels, and everything that they described happens off screen
I am
between
so
the
pissed.
end of Rebels
I am so
and the
pissed.
start of Ahsoka.
I think Dave Filoni is legitimately the worst writer in Hollywood.
Sabine being Force sensitive was introduced in Ahsoka season 1, episode 1.
But did
I
they
didn't
ever
hate
hint
Sabine
at it?
before. She's a fine character in Rebels. She's not great.
She's
but
not bad, though.
But she's not bad. You're not annoyed by her. She's like, oh, her and Ezra, they kind of got a thing going, you know. I'm glad people want
Where's
sex.
Ezra?
Where is Ezra?
So episode 2 is also where they introduce Balen Skoll's motivation.
Yes.
Which is, what is that? What is that?
So Balen Skoll wants true power. It's so boring of a motivation. When he said that, I was like, this is a great character. I love the guy playing him.
He's good.
He's so good. He's better than Ahsoka deserves. He's like the best performer in the show.
He's great.
Easily. Him and his little sidekick out, they're my favorite part of the whole show.
They're so good together. They have so much charisma. I was like, the show should be about these two.
This should be.
That girl doesn't say anything, but every time she's on screen, I'm just like, dude, that person is
Because she doesn't say anything, it makes her cool.
Well, it's not even just that she's not saying anything. Her face is doing so much acting. I'm just like, this person's going, like, she's processing everything.
But she's not undermining every cool thing she does by making some stupid quip.
There's so much depth in her performance, and she doesn't say that much.
It bums me out that the motivation is as simple. Here's the problem. It's not that it's just too simple, because I'm fine with simple motivations. It's that it's simple, but it's also extremely broad.
Vague.
He wants power. And I'm like,
what is he going to do with
What's his
that?
form of power?
Okay,
what is he going to do with
So
that?
all we know is that he was a former Jedi Master. He might know something that we don't know, and then maybe, I think he's supposed to be like a cult leader. He's gonna be like a cult leader.
I'm fine with that, but like, I think he explained, honestly, if he didn't say anything, if the subtext is he wants power, that's fine. But my problem is that he says, I want true power.
Power. Such as you've never dreamed.
And I'm like, oh.
What does that mean, though?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, what are you going to do
We
with
need
that?
to explore this character more.
The character is underwritten.
Underdeveloped, overwritten.
Even his fights with Ahsoka, the first time that they duke it out, it's like,
I was rooting for him.
he brings a different element to wielding it, like a great sword.
I would agree with that.
It's like Darth Vader-ish.
Jumping ahead a little bit, I had a dumb conspiracy theory. So they had their masked apprentice. Here's what they're gonna do.
That's Rey Skywalker.
Well, no,
That's Luke's. People fucking did that, man. That happened.
I thought it was going to be Ezra.
Oh, you are not alone. There was fan talk while it was releasing. They're like, oh, I'll bet that's Ezra.
I would have like legitimately been blown away if that happened.
All right, let's finish episode 2. I've said everything I want to say.
I only had one thing I wanted to say about episode 2.
What is it?
Again, going with that arc blast. She should have been injured by this point. And Ahsoka's like, you should really learn how to be a Jedi.
This happens.
And then, what's her name? Sabine's like, maybe I will. Ahsoka should have been like, you're thinking too much about being a Jedi, about it being about moving rocks, moving your coffee cup, and swinging a lightsaber around. It's not about that, is what she should have said, because she's a full-fledged Jedi or whatever. And she knows that it's not that. It's not.
Ahsoka's not a Jedi. She's not.
I'm going to strangle you.
Okay, so hold on. This is actually an interesting point that Alec brings up. After the Clone Wars, in the Clone Wars, it's very easy because she just is a Jedi until the end of the show, or near the end of the show.
And she gets all of her clones killed.
And she gets all the clones killed, whatever.
It's heroic.
Don't make me regret this. I'm not here to team up with you. I need a diversion, and you're it. Now go cause some chaos. It's what you're good at.
Sir, the hyperdrive generators are failing. Disengage. Disengage! It's too late!
So sad for Ahsoka.
It's been all these years later, right? She, in the show, does not do, say, or reflect anything that is not just I'm Jedi, but boring.
No conflict with being a Jedi.
There's no conflict?
There is no difference between
She's
her
just
and
Jedi.
Luke Skywalker, really.
There's no
in
difference. So then
ideology.
why bother making her not a Jedi if she just basically is a Jedi? What is the difference? Name one difference, and there isn't.
I've been making fun of that forever because everyone's been saying that. It's like, well, she's not a Jedi. Well, she's not a Jedi.
She's
But
not a
I'm
Jedi.
like, but I don't know what you mean by that, because literally everything she is a Jedi.
She never finished.
It doesn't matter. She has the Force and she has lightsabers lightsaber and she acts like a Jedi.
It's a title thing, dude. You can't go around saying, I'm a knight of the Queen.
All the Jedi are dead.
Because she's not pretending to be a Jedi. She says constantly, I'm not a Jedi. And then she goes around acting like a Jedi. She goes around trying to keep the peace.
To the general audience, a Jedi is a guy with a lightsaber and the Force.
They are guardians of life, sir.
Imagine if someone was driving around in a cop car, wearing a cop uniform, with a cop gun and a cop badge, and then they pulled you over.
And they wrote you a ticket.
But the entire time they were saying they weren't a cop? Would you be like,
look, I'm not a cop, I'm just a protector of the community.
I'm just a vigilante, here's your ticket.
It's already there, the template's already there. Teaching Sabine differently than the way we know the Jedi teach.
The conflict with Ahsoka is that she's trying to break to tradition by training Sabine. She is not selected by the Jedi. She is not somebody that is deemed a person that should be trained by them. This is where they're monopolizing the Force, like I was saying before.
But she's training her the same way that Jedi train.
Even Anakin is saying, you've inherited a legacy. Not everybody.
But I'm saying that the end result is the exact same. They said the same thing about Luke. Literally, fucking Yoda says Luke is too old.
I'm not saying this is a good thing.
And Luke considers himself a Jedi.
Yes.
And Ahsoka's doing the same thing.
Yes. She was inspired through Mandalorian to be like Luke, I think, if I'm...
I don't think so at all. No? Even in Ahsoka, she's like, I'm no Jedi.
Is that what she... I can't remember.
Yeah, no, she does. She goes...
She says it all the time. She goes...
Jesus
She goes...
Christ.
She goes...
I'm not a Jedi.
Wink, wink. I'm totally a Jedi.
I'm not a Jedi.
I won't say it.
Anakin never got to finish my training. Before the end of the Clone Wars, I walked away from him. And the Jedi.
Fuck you guys.
Kevin's got to get a little bit more soju in him, dude.
I've got an entire bottle of soju.
Me too.
I am shit-faced.
You are not. Really?
I've had 2 Moscow Mules. He tasted my second one, and I've had half as a...
That's crazy.
We're only on episode 2,
We
baby.
need to keep going. We're gonna get sloshed.
I'm gonna sleep on that couch on top of all the equipment.
And we're not even halfway through, dude.
So episode 3. My notes were, it's hitting me how slow this show is moving.
No, yes. Me too.
Every character is a boring sack of shit.
First note.
I like this.
This show looks terrible. The scene where Mew talks to holograms looks awful. There are no camera movements. It's all shot, reverse shot. And we can get into this if we want.
No camera movement.
Why is her kid not green? Where are his tentacles?
The dad's human.
He should look like a freak.
The green's in his hair.
Where is the
green's in his hair.
50% green chick with tentacles?
I agree. There should be something.
There should be more. I agree. There should be more.
So I have a juicy note that is related to the prequels.
Maybe human goo is more
Just
more
to refresh you
Twilight goo, dude.
of a particularly bad moment in this episode to me.
Nice trick. Got any more? Buckle up.
Is that true?
Literally in the
I
episode.
forgot that.
She says, "Nice trick, you got more."
Try spinning. That's a good trick.
Does Dave Filoni know nobody likes the Phantom Menace?
Ahsoka does that thing where she climbs out on the ship
Yeah.
and fights with lightsabers, which I'll admit is cool enough in theory. I'm like, hey, just do wacky
Why do
shit.
the ships come after her?
But then why do the ships get so close to her so she can get close enough to hit them?
Also, why does gravity work in space? Because she does a flip and lands back.
Force is with her.
Yeah, fucking shit.
All right, that's how the whole show is actually formulated: is conveniences that help the main characters out.
If the show was good, you wouldn't be asking where's the gravity on the ship.
And then when the whales show up at the end, it's very convenient. The whales show up and save them.
Is this a line? I don't need Sabine to be a Jedi, I need her to be herself.
Oh, someone says that.
I don't need Sabine to be a Jedi. I need her to be herself.
I hate this show.
That's not how you nurture seeds.
No.
That is not how you nurture seeds.
Episode 4. Why did the robot attack the good guy robot with no weapon? He's working on the ship, and then the robot shows up out of nowhere, and he just starts like trying to fight him with his fists. And I'm like, why didn't he blow him away with a gun?
Oh, and there's several moments where Sabine or someone else will hit them in the face. I was like, they're droids! They're robots!
So this episode, again, is filled with moments that should be good. Because Sabine
it almost is good in a couple points.
Is constantly making decisions that should fucking get her killed.
Oh, like saying, hey, I won't destroy the map if you take me to Ezra, and I trust you, even though they're the bad guys.
You will be reunited with your friend. Do it.
Do it. Classic hero.
No, because here's the thing,
Classic
Classic
hero.
Hero if she gets screwed and she's like, oh my gosh, I'm so flawed. Instead,
I would think this would be an opportunity for reflection.
I try to avoid that.
they haven't brought up at all like this drama at all, but for some reason this episode feels the need to have Ahsoka go, by the way, you know what this might come down to? Us destroying the map and never finding...
And never get like,
and never
like no
finding-
Ezra, no Thrawn.
If we can't make the journey to find Ezra, then no one should.
It won't come to that.
It might have already.
Literally in that episode, she's like, that might happen. And then it's like, oh, will it might happen?
And then she
guess.
goes, it will. And like the same scene, which personally I think is a great conflict because you're like, gosh, that means someone's going to have to make a difficult choice.
We say fuck and cunt all the time, and then he says gosh.
We are drinking so much. Okay,
Wait, where are we?
episode 4.
They pushed Ahsoka off a cliff.
I do like that Balen Skoll is just better than Ahsoka. Like, that was awesome.
He's just good.
Like, he beat her.
Who's his master?
Who cares?
Obi Kenobi, dude, was his bastard.
That like
They'll retcon it.
After the Clone Wars and the Fall of the Jedi, there's only so many times you can get away with, this was a Jedi in hiding. You know, like only so many of those work for me.
only so many of those ideas are left.
The Jedi that turned are potentially interesting characters, or the Jedi that gave up. The way he's characterized, he's not necessarily a bad guy. He's not like
an anti-hero.
for evil. He's not going to kill you just for fun.
That's why his lightsaber.
Yeah, he kills you to
orange.
serve a very specific purpose. That the path that he has chosen.
Whatever his
Blood
thing
orange.
is, we don't know.
He is arguably the most interesting character they've introduced in any of these shows.
Yeah, he's got blood orange flavored lightsaber.
I mean, if anybody can wield the Force, he could just be recruiting whoever he wants and training a ton of fucking people.
Yeah, I'll give them this credit. Oftentimes with these female characters, they will be completely afraid to make them lose or do anything wrong. But Ahsoka loses the fight. Like, it's not even like it's not
Straight
like
up.
anything cheap happens. She just loses the fight.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for the fact that she fell in a force portal or whatever, she would be dead.
Because this is the part where Sabine turns to unsalvageable worst character in the entire show.
However, if Sabine was a better character, her terrible decision at the end would have been justified for me.
Could have been great.
If I was sitting there going, I totally get her character and I know why she did that, I wouldn't have been mad.
There was no tension.
I like when a character makes the wrong decision.
No pressure.
Yeah, that's
She had
fine.
no pressure.
You
She always
shouldn't
acted like she
hate
was
them for
just
doing
like
it though.
big
You should
shit.
understand
You
why
should
they're doing
understand
it.
it. Instead, it's just kind of like, well, I guess we want to see Ezra, so she has to do that. And the bad guy said they wouldn't kill her, so.
I give you my word. No harm will come to you.
Like, if it mattered that much, she would question every choice she's making.
Even though she's never fucking met them, and they just killed Ahsoka.
Sometimes the characters that make the wrong decisions are the most interesting characters.
That's what I'm saying. You can make a compelling character with that, but in that moment when she makes the wrong decision, the story's kind of like, but is it the wrong decision?
The consequences need to follow.
The music should be boom, like she just made the wrong decision. Bad guy wins. Okay, the ending's super fucking terrible. Fuck Sabine. Okay, so
What did Ahsoka learn or gain in the spirit realm?
that she doesn't want to die. I figured this out already.
Yeah, no, she just didn't want to die.
Was there anything more than that?
No, she wanted to die before, I guess.
She felt bad, I guess.
At the end, she's like, oh, I guess I do want to live.
I choose to live.
She felt bad for her former
What did
master's
she
legacy.
learn from Anakin also being Darth Vader?
That her legacy is death.
Well, she already knew that.
No, yeah.
That's what it feels like, but it feels like she had to relearn it.
It's almost like
Because in order to accept
that episode exists for nothing.
No.
Except for
Fan service.
I agree, but maybe she had to accept a part. In order to learn more from him, she has to accept certain parts that she hasn't, mostly rooted in fan service.
I think Anakin looks weird. Sometimes it looks good. There's moments where I'm like, okay, the de-aging looks pretty good here. Other times, not so much. Also, I will say generally, to give Hayden Christensen credit, his performance is better here than it was in the prequels.
Because Hayden Christensen's not that bad. It's
He's
just
not that bad. Now, while the material is not quite prequel level, the writing is the thing that's undermining him in all of his scenes here. He's like, what? I can't make a joke? You're joking? I'm making a joke. You're joking? I'm making a joke. You're joking?
It's war.
What makes you say that?
I'm joking.
You're joking.
Yeah, I'm joking.
What are we doing here? He just said the same line, and he's trying his goddamn best. Please let him have this.
You look the same.
You look old.
Well, that happens.
Use a comparison in episode 5. Luke has a similar like vision quest type deal. He goes into the dark tree where Yoda tells him not to go.
Don't go in the dark tree.
Confront yourself, you must.
But by comparison, Luke learns something about himself. He doesn't learn that Darth Vader's his father necessarily, but what he learns more specifically is that the darkness of Darth Vader also lies within himself.
It's the same dark.
And that's kind of what she's confronting, correct?
No, because she's not dark at any point in the show. She's not struggling with it, so it's not thematically resonant with the rest of the show. Luke makes impulsive decisions in The Empire Strikes Back because he feels his friends are dying, and there's a ticking clock, and he has to go and do it. And he makes more mistakes.
Is that this is a perfect comparison to Empire Strikes Back,
Yes.
where Luke is making the wrong decision in Empire Strikes Back.
Yes.
Where you feel that in the moment. You're like, I get why you're doing it, but you shouldn't be doing it.
If you end your training now, if you choose the quick and easy path, as Vader did, you will become an agent of evil.
Luke makes all these mistakes, and at the end, what happens to him? They lose Han Solo at the end. He loses his hand. He finds out that the person that he hates more than this world is the person that he idolizes most in this world. And he is completely beaten down. All of his training meant nothing. And the music is dark and it's sad
Like,
when these
you
moments
screwed
happen.
up.
It's like you
Everything
screwed
is
up.
wrong.
You're on the run. That's it. You're shit out of luck.
Stakes are high.
The end of this show is
Sabine is like,
Ahsoka
oh my
going,
gosh.
we're right where we need to be.
Everything's fine, despite that Thrawn will genocide all these fucking people.
There's just one moment where Ahsoka goes,
We'll just see where it goes.
It could go anywhere.
I know. That's better than going nowhere.
and that's how they end it, where she goes in the mouth of the fucking thing. And it's like, kids, hey kids, if someone in a van rolls up to you and is like, hey, jump on in here. It's better than going nowhere. Don't get in the van with that guy.
The green chick's son is so terrible. Why is he here? Why did she bring her
Hera.
son to see two Siths? He could have fucking died. Why did he leave him alone with fat, short R2?
I do have a thumbs up in this episode.
What's that?
This is technically a fan service moment, but I kind of liked it.
I won't fight you.
I've heard that before.
That was pretty good.
That was pretty sweet.
That's badass.
Episode 6. Enter Thrawn. Where's Thrawn?
Thrawn by Zon.
From episode 6 on, I don't care about episode numbers.
It's all connected.
No, it is.
That's actually fine.
I threw this out.
I want to talk about seeds.
Hold on.
And
I want to give Cody the chance to do his
Okay, yeah.
thing, if he so chooses.
All right, so yeah.
All right. Whoa, timer.
See, then they stop me and I get all like,
Timer is important.
go. So we got the whale graveyard. They roll up in it. Cool. Thrawn shows up. Awesome. He's epic and sick. Sabine and him, they show up and they duke it out for the first time. And Sabine completely undercuts.
Don't interrupt him.
Yeah, pause that.
1, 2.
Sabine, no, you can't fucking talk. Sabine undermines Thrawn's first appearance by being like, I'm not afraid of you.
Just answer the question.
No need for hostility.
He's scary as fuck. There's there's nothing for the guy who plays Thrawn that's, I don't know. There's just nothing good about the fucking shit.
Whoa!
You were mad when Thrawn showed up?
No, but I still like Thrawn. I thought the guy that played Thrawn, Lars Mikkelsen, was cool. And he was like, his eyes were badass.
So what was your issue with Sabine meeting him?
They met and there was absolutely no tension between the two. She was not afraid of him at all.
I agree.
This new character that is supposed to be there was nothing.
He's literally the main threat that they're like.
They did not.
They've hinged the entire show on.
They did not help him out at all. Like the people that were playing with him.
The
is all I'm
whole
saying.
hinge of the show is Thrawn is the biggest force against.
And
the,
Sabine rolls up with all the swagger in the world, and you're just like, how is this chick got swagger right now?
Your timer's up.
I raised my hand in everything. I was trying to be respectful, but you just...
I thought you were hyping me.
No, he was raising his hand, and I kept like kind of pointing, but you guys just kept talking.
I thought you were hyping me.
No, we're talking together.
I was trying to not let him interrupt you.
No, we're talking to each other.
I thought you were like snapping your fingers.
No, we need to bounce off each other.
All I know about Thrawn is that he's a character that a lot of people that have read the books like, and that he is the type of villain that I generally like. I'm a big fan of smart, competent villains. Prior to Ahsoka, he is depicted as a smart, tactful leader who is cunning, smart,
steps ahead.
Very similar to a character like Tywin Lannister. To me, Thrawn is a big part of this because he is the big sell.
It was Ahsoka v. Thrawn.
Yeah, going
the
into
show.
Ahsoka, I was thinking, okay, this is their chance to introduce their big villain for this big arc.
Star Wars.
For Star Wars going forward, because this is where all of this is going, right? You even said it. It's going to a movie where it's Thrawn versus
Heir of the Empire.
Heir of the Empire.
Heir to the Empire.
Fucking, I don't give a shit. It's Luke versus Thrawn. So this is their introduction to this villain.
It's got so many props.
We're all surprised by this.
And this is where I'm going.
Surprised.
This is where I'm going. Sit down, you cock. This is that villain's introduction. Is that this villain? I fucking hate you so much. And this is how Disney's choosing to introduce this character. Now, when you introduce Darth Vader, how is this character introduced? He's introduced as a symbol of power. He doesn't say anything. It is this army of people, better people than us, have broken down why the first scene of Star Wars visually is so effective. Darth Vader,
yes,
his introduction is so masterfully done visually. You don't need to ask, oh, who's in control here? You know that Darth Vader's in control. So when they introduce Thrawn, there's precedent within this franchise for introducing villains. And his introduction is with Sabine. The worst fucking character in this entire fucking show.
Someone he's barely met.
Someone he's barely met.
You agree with me.
And the entire first scene, I immediately was like, oh, they don't know how to write for this character. Immediately, I was like, they are too dumb to write for this character. They're fucking it up.
Does anyone know why fan favorite characters like Littlefinger and Varys and Tyrion Lannister all got really dumb in the last few seasons? Is because dumb people cannot write smart characters. It is the limit of their writing abilities. If you are not smart and cunning to at least some degree, then you cannot write smart and cunning.
I wonder what
D&D
the writer
are not George R.R.
Thrawn
Martin.
thinks.
They could not write smart characters because they don't know how. Dave Filoni cannot write Thrawn because he does not know how to write smart characters because he is not that smart.
What if he just goes and complains to the witches and they do all the things he needs?
What if Ahsoka wins and then like Ahsoka gets what she wants, but then Thrawn, after Ahsoka gets what she wants, Thrawn just says, that's precisely what I planned for.
You know, in the grand scheme of things, one might even call this first match with Tano a success.
That's what makes him smart.
Ahsoka Tano has lost the one thing she could not afford to lose today. Time.
They almost did Thrawn perfectly with their first version of it. They sent Balen Skoll and his apprentice after her. And he was talking to the witches.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, they're beating Balen Skoll or whatever. Thrawn's basically like, oh, well, it doesn't matter no matter what, because they're already out of time. If that was the only time that happens and Ahsoka and company never even get close to Thrawn's ship, that would be cool. If he's like, oh yeah, no, I wanted them to go on this mission.
Well, ultimately, like the chase and them trying to get close to a ship was contrived because he could have just been like, oh, hey, raise the ship like 15 feet before we leave. And then they just lift it and then they can't get to him.
I think Thrawn is a mixed bag. Because I think the performance, because Lars Mikkelsen's a good actor, his look, everything else about him falls flat. And I feel like there's just so many moments where he's just like, oh yes, of course, I expected this to happen.
I knew this thing that is totally screwing me would happen.
Don't underestimate a Jedi. So what are you gonna do? I'm gonna send 2 TIE fighters after them.
Dispatch 2 gunships to assist the mercenaries.
It would make sense if he doesn't really know what's happening with the heroes.
Yeah.
But it keeps cutting back to him and he's like, it appears they destroyed those TIE fighters.
Remember when
they're all fine.
If Lord Balen proves capable, we may yet win the day.
You guys remember when Ezra's like, I don't need a lightsaber.
You keep it. What? I don't need it. The Force is my ally.
That's all I need.
Force is my ally.
Can we put on Ezra's beard? Is awesome. It's pretty cool.
I don't care about Ezra's beard.
His beard's pretty cool.
I didn't know he didn't have one before.
He didn't have one before.
He didn't. He was a kid.
But it's not the best beard on the show.
No.
Balen Skoll has a much better
Balen
beard.
Skoll's got a good beard.
But he's like, oh, I use the Force on my side. I don't need a lightsaber. And then 2 scenes later, he's like,
oh my gosh, I failed.
Make me a lightsaber, please. I need a lightsaber.
Because yeah, he screwed terribly. He was awful without his lightsaber. He's like, I guess I can't use the Force that well. No, I was actually pretty annoyed with that whole Force thing because at first I was like, that's cool. He's like, I don't need a lightsaber. I'm just gonna use the Force. I think that's badass when supposedly if a Jedi's like, oh, I'm just gonna Force choke people, punch them, and send them into the moon with my Force powers. And then he shows up and he starts like kind of like lightly pushing people, and I'm like,
it's not even close to being.
If it was
as
like
cool as
he
it
shows
should
up
have
and
been.
he's like dodging things, and then he just like snaps a guy with the Force and stuff like that. That would be cool.
He had 10 years to get better at the Force. My only note for episode 6 was Sabine is such a stupid fucking bitch.
I just think that's a very unsophisticated way of putting something else more.
It is my broad term, and then I go into detail. So Sabine shows up, and on a one hand, I'm like, okay, there's a way they can kind of say, again, I don't know why I'm trying to save this fucking show in my head. In my head, I'm like, oh, you know, I'd say this as if she's like, oh, she's going along with him, but she's got a plan to break out and go look for Ezra and stick it to them and keep them from leaving. You know, she's gonna sabotage their mission or whatever. No, she gets there, hey guys, we made a deal. Where's Ezra? What's going on? What about Ezra?
We had a deal. You promised me I would see Ezra again. Hey! Hey! We had a deal!
I'm like, I didn't realize she was actually fucking stupid. I thought she just loved Ezra or whatever, and that's why she made that stupid decision.
You've gambled the fate of your galaxy on that belief.
And then she's just like, all right, you go, Sabine, go look for Ezra. And she goes, okay, I will.
Don't follow me.
And then you're not gonna follow me. Of course not.
You may follow her.
And she goes, all right. No funny business now.
I would never lie to you. I'm not.
You
the
are
villain.
so stupid to believe that that would happen. She finds Ezra, and then they meet. These characters have all this history, and then they're like, hey, it's good to see you.
And Ezra's like, so like,
You
seriously,
too.
you got to catch me up on what happened. And then she's like, nothing. Also, no one's following us, by the way.
I have so many questions. How did you find me? How did you get here?
Let's not talk about that.
No one's following us. There's no timetable. Thrawn's not trying to leave. We have to stop him. Yes, Alec.
Ezra should be fucking dead. Here is my biggest problem with this entire storyline, is they establish, this is how you write a good story. You establish that your protagonists are looking for something. Sabine, she's looking for Ezra. Thematically, it is wishing the dead back to life. When you do that in a story, that is kind of a curse that you ask upon yourself.
It's not even just he should be dead. He shouldn't be Ezra.
He's got a beard.
Either you find Ezra to be, he's got a beard. You're right. Either you find Ezra to be dead, or you find Ezra and he's not the Ezra you need.
Like that's kind of what I'm saying. When a character dies,
things should
like
not be so
what
easy.
happened at the end of Rebels, literally just from what I know about the end of Rebels from this show, which is that Ezra sacrificed himself to kill Thrawn. A sacrifice needs to be made. When you sacrifice yourself, you need to sacrifice
There's a cost.
yourself.
It took away
There
Ezra's
needs to
whole
be a
sacrifice.
cost.
Yes.
And that cost, in my opinion, needs to be life. It can't just be, oh, he's different now, or like, he did spend some years not in the real world. It was in this other world.
We don't know what he got up to on this
I
planet.
don't give a fuck. So when you get to the point where she has been making all of these flawed decisions, she keeps acting in this delusional mind state that she's going to find Ezra. The most interesting thing that you can do with that is that Ezra's not alive anymore. He passed. Maybe he even did survive. Just like Thrawn, he did make it to the wastelands. He didn't survive.
Now, I made all these mistakes and I can't take them back now. I don't get any prize.
and now she has the perfect opportunity for an arc blast.
When characters make mistakes, they
and
do
she's
not
like,
get
well, I have to
rewards.
make this right, and I have to destroy Thrawn before I have to destroy Thrawn before he destroys the galaxy.
Yeah.
Like that would ramp her up to be like, I need to destroy him. I was so stupid, but now my mind is completely
There would be an
clear.
arc. Yeah, that'd be an
Why
arc
couldn't he
blast,
be
yeah.
Colonel Kurtz?
I was literally about to make the Apocalypse Now.
Why couldn't he be
comparison.
Colonel Kurtz?
All
from
I was
Now?
literally going to say this could be so much better if they literally just ripped Apocalypse
They
Now.
don't even have to kill him.
Their arc
that's a
blast
great
was
point.
too internal.
It's been 10 years. That's longer than Colonel Kurtz was in the Vietnam.
What actually happens is Ezra is like, I've been here and I'm the same character. I've been the same the entire time.
I've been fucking these turtles.
I've laid with all of them.
I have 100 children. There was only 3 when I got here. I will say this about Ezra. The actor is actually pretty good. He is, of all of the characters who are so dull and lifeless and uninteresting, at least he comes in and he's like, all right, what's going on? Like, we're doing this, we're doing that.
He's got a little bit
At
of
least he's
something.
alive.
Don't you want to take us as prisoners? As prisoners? Huh? Or,
Fire!
You know, there's life in his eyes. He's trying to make,
And
he's
even behind
cracking
it.
jokes. He's like, he's smirking.
Where like he's not doing the shitty things that a lot of these.
Well, you have to imagine Dave Filoni is telling
There's
him what
not
to do. He's a
confidence.
bad director.
There's confidence, but you can tell it's still contrived. There's still more going on that's to him. He is a bad director.
No, Cody, I will fully give you that. In a better script with a better director, I think that actor could do a lot of good stuff.
I don't think it's the actor's fault at all. I think all the actors would be fine if they were directed better.
Oh yeah,
directing,
that's
for sure.
With Ahsoka, I genuinely found myself wondering, was Rosario Dawson ever good? Has she been good?
Yeah, seriously.
Dude, she's got all this stuff
She's a
on
good
her
actress.
face.
And I'm like,
And then you watch the behind the scenes.
That's like 8 hours.
And then she's like, hey, to everybody. And she's so energetic and charismatic and joyful behind the scenes. And you're like, that's Rosario Dawson.
That's Ahsoka.
That's Ahsoka, yeah.
Watching the show, you literally forget that Rosario Dawson is a good actress.
Like that scene with the child version of herself should reunite herself with that playful
Rosario Dawson has been
side.
stripped of her charisma.
I have one important line delivery / moment in episode 7 that I have in my notes that bothered me. She's filling Ezra in with all the stuff that happened while he was gone. And they have a throwaway line where they go, oh, and Palpatine died? And then she goes, that's what they say.
The Emperor died.
That's what people say.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
Kevin, what is the stormtrooper with the stupid face? The very first shot with him in it, he says, Maleep. And I had to rewind it 2 times to figure out what he was saying. The first time I just rewound it because I was like, what did he just say, Maleep? And then I put on subtitles for the second time. And what he actually said was fall in, apparently.
He's speaking a different language, dude.
He says Maleep. This show, Star Wars Ahsoka, makes the sequel trilogy the dumbest fucking trilogy. If they're trying to make the sequel trilogy better, fun fact, they're failing horribly.
They're trying.
By what?
The reason being is in the sequel trilogy, they're like, the New Order is not actually the Empire, they're just a fucking thing we don't care about. So, Leia, you just form your rebellion, we don't give a shit about anything you're doing. So apparently, the Empire keeps rising up. Like, they keep having these pockets of people that are allied to them, but for some
Mandalorians.
reason, when it happens again,
It's absurd.
10 years later, it's absurd, and no one believes
And there's the
it.
one guy on that council that's just like, can you believe this? Don't listen to Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Honestly, are we to believe any of it? There is no proof of any coordination between the scattered and dwindling number of Imperial forces. Thus, no immediate threat to this republic.
I'm not joking, like Moff Gideon and now Thrawn coming back, it makes the sequel trilogy so much dumber to me because the fact
They had all these hints.
Yeah, they had all these hints. Oh, the Empire was constantly trying to come back.
Yeah, and they just refused to do anything
All those people
about
were
it.
just like, this is stupid. All the main characters think that this is happening, but I'm going to ignore it.
What I wanted to bust out with is you said that which lady in Ahsoka fight. I'm hearing Dave Filoni in the special features in my head saying, you have to make the choreography right because the fans know the difference between good and bad.
He literally said that. The choreography is terrible.
Hey, I'm someone who's really stupid and likes some of the bad choreography in the sequel trilogy, okay? And I noticed that bad choreography in the show.
There are good moments, but far more bad moments.
The duel should tell a story, and in the original trilogy, it always does. Luke loses in Empire Strikes Back because Vader is better than him and he doesn't have training.
It has more to do with the fact that Luke is making the wrong decision emotionally.
Yes.
He is going into this situation on purely feeling. It is just, I feel worried about this.
It's a mistake.
He's making a mistake. Precisely. We're making the comparison. This is all Ahsoka's doing, so the consequences should be the same.
And at the end of the Empire Strikes Back, you know he made the wrong decision.
Yes.
And here's what happened to him. Because he made the wrong decision.
He fell into the trap. It was
He loses
a fucking
everything.
trap.
It was a trap and he fell for it.
Yes.
And here's what you have at the end of Ahsoka.
Ezra is where he needs to be. And so are we.
Thrawn is on the loose. We have no idea where Ezra is, and we're with these stupid turtle people.
Thumbs
We're
fucking up.
where we're supposed to be, baby.
Heir to the Empire.
End
I
credits.
swear, this is the stupidest ending you could have come up with.
This is right where we're supposed to be for our great finale of a movie.
Cody, you are giving them a lot of credrit.
They're gonna
I don't
do it.
think
They're gonna make a
making
movie.
No, they are. Dave Filoni is announced to make an Heir of the Empire Heir to the
Director?
Empire movie. Yeah.
David Filoni?
Yes. You didn't hear? They announced a bunch of Star Wars projects, and that was one of them.
I'm going to apologize to both of you for being dumb. You both believed Disney when they announced something for Star Wars.
And if you look at what actually happened here at the end, Thrawn realized he cannot endure a good Jedi as a fucking
He
enemy.
endured it fine.
No, he realized that he
got everything he wanted.
Nothing went according to plan. He lost his wizard sorceress woman from
He has 3
Dogbeard.
wizards still. You say Thrawn didn't get everything he wanted. He got off the planet with all of his troops and his witches and his ship, his favorite ship. And he left Ahsoka and Sabine there.
He did.
They're stranded. They're legitimately stranded as far as he knows.
Yeah, either Ahsoka season 2 or the movie, whatever comes first. It's gonna start with, let's just ride the whales back. Next time they come, we'll just ride them out of here, baby.
Thrawn was hyped up.
I hyped him up.
Everyone did, not just
everybody.
Everybody.
Everybody hyped Thrawn up as being
all caps
the villain to look the fuck out for. What I wanted out of Thrawn was a character very similar to what Tywin Lannister is supposed to be. Strategically cunning to the point where like he's able to outmaneuver everybody. That's the impression I had of Thrawn. So I was thinking, okay, at the very least, I really hope that they nail this Thrawn thing. What do I get, Kevin?
Witches, please help me, please.
Is that Thrawn's fault?
It's the writer's fault.
It's a man named David Filoni.
Yeah, Thrawn didn't win because he was smart and cunning. Thrawn won because all the other characters were stupid.
Yes.
And that's the issue. And at the end, he does win. He wins completely. Like if
he gets what he wants.
If you're paying attention at all
He
to the
lost
show,
more than he expected.
no, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
He didn't give a crap about that lady, dude. Why would he care about the stick lady?
Today, victory is mine. Long live the Empire.
She got killed off, so her role isn't that big.
I agree. I agree. Personally, I think I'd like to be if there's a better director on set. I'd like to see if they would coach these actors to be more, just to have a better dynamic with them, to sell this illusion of power rather than it being like, I have all this swagger and I don't fear you at all, even though you're the biggest threat to the fucking galaxy. There's no generosity towards that character.
That is an interesting perspective you bring because you are a classically trained actor.
I look at those other actors to help set up him to be what I remember him to be and how he impacted all of the characters that led us to be excited about him to be a presence in this world, like Darth Vader. You know?
Yeah.
People didn't like hearing that name.
So my first introduction to Thrawn was between Sabine, and then Thrawn is trying his best. I will give the performer all the credit in the world.
What I was saying.
Yeah, he is doing his best because he is trying to be intimidating. It's working for the most part, but the problem is that he's acting opposite Sabine, and Sabine is acting like she's in a cartoon. And she's like, oh, what, you're fucking Thrawn? Oh, well, I don't
Where's Ezra?
Where's Ezra?
Where's Ezra? I
was
really
promised Ezra.
I don't really give a fuck about you being Thrawn.
It's also quite possible that your friend is dead.
If you survived, I'm sure he's doing just fine.
A good actor tries to play the dynamic that he's given. So if he's given a confident character, he's gonna play the opposite.
Yeah.
To add to the dynamics. And he does do the dynamics well. It just doesn't make sense because we all want to see.
He should be destroying her.
We want to see her.
By the end of the scene, it should be like Hans Landa.
Yes.
And is
Hans
like
Landa.
from Inglourious Bastards.
Exactly.
By the end of it, it should be like,
Yes.
no, you are wrong.
He does something
I'm
just
in
to
charge.
fucking scare the shit out of her.
I don't like it. It's not good. You shouldn't watch it. But if you must, watch a recap.
If you just watch recaps, you'll realize that nothing actually happens in these shows.
Seeds lead to beautiful things, and this led to just deeper and deeper.
Cody, this is a lot more negative. I was expecting more combat.
No, we all just pummeled on this show, dude. Because Cody's been defeated too, because his seeds didn't grow into plants, they grew into seeds.
Even as a person who watched all the previous stuff, seeing it transition to this live action thing, I did not feel like the characters had any arc that was, they just started and ended in the same place. The thing that they were like, am I gonna watch Heir to the Empire?
Well,
probably.
I think all of us
want a
probably.
review, don't you?
Is this gonna make me more skeptical going in?
We are going in the trash.
Certainly.
Very slowly.
Certainly. You can connect to the Force, but alcohol will take you away from that pure connection, the potential, the seed inside of you that leads to roots, to pathways that space
is
whales
way less
go
coherent
to,
than
that
anything
lead to
I've
some
done.
sort
also
of
not coherent.
obstacle
They're
that
both
is a
not coherent.
universal
Sounds like that
obstacle
before the video.
that is Thrawn. What?
Yeah, that's not alcohol, dude. That's just Cody. It's honestly probably one of the worst written shows I've ever seen. The dialogue is so bad and so slowly paced out, and all of the tension is taken out of every single scene. And I'd say the best example of that is in the last episode. They're ramping up. They just fought the 2 Sith people, and Thrawn keeps saying he's gonna get away. And then they cut back to them with the turtles, and they're just like, so anyways, I guess you should use the Force. It's not about lightsabers.
Good to see you again.
Yeah, you too. And then Ezra's building his lightsaber, and I'm like, is there no urgency at all?
Where are we going?
And then it ends, and they fail miserably, and you're like, wow, of course they did, because they didn't have any urgency.
They didn't do anything.
It would be fine if it was like Empire Strikes Back and they failed. Just like we've said a million times, if they failed and it felt it that way. Instead, it's like, we didn't. Anakin's right there watching us. Obviously, this is a 0.
Eight out of 10.
Cody.
I mean, I think it's not pretty good.
Out of 12.
Out of 12.
It's good. It's
Out
good.
of 12.
Out of 10. Out of
Good?
12? Good. I mean, it's all right.
You didn't seem like you liked it at all.
Of 12. Yeah, you gave a
Out of
lot
12, what's your
negative
score?
thought.
I'm gonna give it an 8 too.
Sometimes we'll give it like a 12 out of 12 because we think it's funny, or we did like the movie that much to give it such a high number.
It's not even worth it for this one.
For this short film,
What?
Yep, just let him have it.
Write that one down, guys.
what do you even call it? It's not a television show. It's a
Disney Plus experience,
It is an
dude.
advertisement for Star Wars.
I would say an advertisement for Star Wars.
I have only done this once before, and I am going to have to do it again. And I'm doing it for the good of Star Wars. I want you to know.
To make Star Wars better.
I am going to have to give Star Wars Ahsoka a negative 12 out of 12.
Average that out.
So that's 4.
That seems weirdly proportional.
Well, either that's 4 on the positive side. That's a positive score.
No,
Check
that's
out
negative 4.
Ahsoka season 1 now on Disney Plus.
Thrawn's back. We're back.
That is a 34%.
That's a positive score. Go check out
That's a
Ahsoka
negative score.
season
Positive
1.
score.
It's a negative score.
If you like Star Wars reviews, let us know. If you don't, we don't have to do this ever again.
Cut.
We did it. We did it. What was the movie that Dave Filoni's making?
Heir to the Empire.
Come time.
Come Time, starring Dave Filoni.